Hello, I'm Charles Alexander, the chairman of Opera Rara, and it's my great pleasure to introduce to you my choice of CD of the month for August 2020, which is the Opera Rara recording of Donizetti's Les Martyrs, recorded in November 2014, 2 years after I became chairman, for which I have now had the honour for the last 8 years. The reason I've chosen Les Martyrs is, apart from the fact that it's in a long tradition of recordings of the works of Donizetti, is because it encapsulates all that Opera Rara does. The musicological archaeology, the discovery, the representation of a neglected masterpiece. Under the expert supervision of Roger Parker, the musicologist Flora Wilson from Cambridge reconstructed the score of Les Martyrs, which Donizetti wrote for Paris in the late 1840s, after writing an Italian opera of a similar name, Polluto. And for me, this was a pilgrimage, really, because it was the first really large-scale work that Opera Rara had attempted since I became chairman, and therefore it was very risky. But it was also, for the entire company, a voyage of discovery, not only of the new roots of the company in the post-Peter Moore's era, but also of a new sense of purpose that we were bringing to the London public and to the recording studio, French grand opera written by an Italian on a subject which, as it turns out, has had more and more current bearing on the world. So let me go back for 1 second and say, I remember sitting in my flat in London near Albert Bridge, the morning after the performance of Offenbach's Fantasio, and I was having breakfast there with Roger Parker and Sir Mark Elder. And Mark, tired from the previous evening's performance, welcomed Roger in, and as I went to make the coffee, he said, "Where are they? Where are they?" And Roger produced the score of Les Martyrs, which he and Flora had recently completed. And Mark opened the first page, and there he saw the opening bars of the overture of Les Martyrs, which very unusually is a prelude for 4 bassoons, a very beautiful sequence of chords for 4 bassoons in wistful harmony. And Mark, being a bassoonist himself, wanted to see what the score was that these 4 original bassoons would be making when it came to the performance and the recording. For of course, Opera Rara, for this performance and recording, decided to use the original instrument orchestra of the Age of Enlightenment. And what followed was a major casting exercise of how to present a French grand opera to the public for the first time with a serious cast, with an original instrument orchestra. And we were very fortunate to attract not only Joyce El-Khoury, the soprano, as Pauline, who had performed previously with us in Belisario, but the great American tenor Michael Spires, more of him in a minute, and who could not be pleased with the extraordinary array of great male voices of David Kempster, Clive Bailey, and Brinley Sherratt, who bring power and menace indeed to the performance and the recording. So having listened to Mark and Roger go through what the original musicological intention of Les Martyrs was, we then embarked on the preparation of the recording and the performance. And halfway through, when we were trying to finance this very risky project, very high cost, extremely ambitious musical exercise, Bob Moffat and others in the development department at Opera Rara had the brilliant idea and realization that this, being a history of martyrdom in the Roman Empire in the original country of Armenia, Christian martyrdom, under an oppressive imperial regime, could be of interest to the Armenian community around the world. The reason for that being that 2015, just months away from the recording and the performance that we gave, was the anniversary of the atrocity known in Armenia as the Armenian Genocide, or certainly mass massacre of Armenian nationals in the deserts of Anatolia at the hands of the Ottoman Turks, who at the time, of course, were fighting on the German side of the First World War, and took that opportunity to cleanse ethnically their territory of what they regarded as their historical Christian enemy, the Armenians. Armenia today is a much smaller country, and its capital Yerevan, with a very large diaspora and very proud of its Christian heritage, as indeed the longest surviving original church in Christendom to this day. Fast forward a few months, and through one of our trustees, Tony Bunker, who had a very close relationship with the then ambassador to the Court of St. James, His Excellency Armin Sarkisian, now the President of Armenia, we were able, through his good offices, to assemble a magnificent group of sponsors from the Armenian diaspora in the form of the Donizetti family, the Manukian family, and of course the Sarkisians themselves, without whose support we would not have been able to present this piece. But it dawned on us that this was not simply a sponsorship opportunity. This was an added responsibility from the artistic point of view, because it gave poignancy and currency to the story of the piece. And this only goes to show, in my view, that by doing Les Martyrs in the original French version, Opera Rara was demonstrating the power of the art form of opera to retain its relevance and currency throughout time to the present day. Reverting to the recording itself, my favourite pieces which demonstrate what I'm saying are at the end of Act 1, which is brand new music. It was not in Poliuto, the finale at the great trio, where the story is set. Namely, Pauline's husband, Poliut, has declared himself a Christian, while she remained faithful to the ancient gods of her culture. And therefore, their love was challenged. And the opera unfolds with his prayer that she joins him in the Christian faith, her opposition to it against a backdrop of oppression of a Christian chorus, and culminates with her conversion, his conversion, and their joint martyrdom. So, the end of the first act, the piece is set with the beautiful aria and trio Objet de ma Constance, which on CD1 is numbers 13 to 15, particularly number 15, which I'm sure you will enjoy. The second piece of complete operatic originality is Michael Spires, the tenor, singing Poliut. When he sings on CD2, track number 15, the magnificent aria J'irai dans leur temple, I will go into their temples, where he sets down his challenge to the old culture, the old gods, as a converted Christian, that he will go into their temples and proclaim his faith, and indeed suffer martyrdom as a consequence. And this magnificent piece contains a top E natural, sung by a tenor. Now, if you think of the great notes that we all hear as opera lovers, and you think of Che gelida manina, La Speranza, at the top of that's a top C. You think of Vincerò in Turandot, that's a top B. This is a major third higher than the top C at the climax of Che gelida manina. It is an amazing vocal feat by Michael, who holds the note. The evening of the performance in the festival hall, there was a gasp in the audience as he nailed it. And he nails it on the recording. So I recommend it to you at number 15 on CD 2. We wrestled with the problem as to what to do with the end of the piece because, without spoiler alert, the piece ends with the Martyrs being thrown to the lions. As to what should we do about the sound effects of the lions. But we resisted all temptation and we let the music do its work. So, in summary, Donizetti's Les Martyrs, which was given an International Opera Award as the best recording of opera in that year, is a triumph of the Opera Rara artistic team under the leadership of Sir Mark Elder, and for the musicology of Roger Parker, Flora Wilson, and I might say for the whole executive team at Opera Rara for having the breadth and the courage to recommend to the board to put it on and to find the resources to stage it. And that is Opera Rara. That's what we do. We go out of our way, we find the resources to back an artistic team to bring neglected masterpieces, suitably restored, beautifully played and sung, for public recognition and permanent recording. And with those couple of highlights, I do recommend it to you, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Thank you.